me, it was his detail. You know, his attention to detail, and could teach you the A to the Z of rugby league.
His man management and the way that he made you feel as a young person, the motivation that he gave you. He could take you into a room and tell you that you're not playing in a semi-final, one that you really wanted to play in. And somehow he'd persuade you that there was still an opportunity, that there was some development to be had, and that it was going to be good for you at long term, and you'd walk out of there like $1 million.
Monaghan's after it, it's perfect! You know, when I went and played under Tony at Warrington, he still taught me things about the game that I didn't know at that stage. So, you know, he's had a great career in coaching, and you know, long may it continue.
Lee Breers this time. He goes for the 1 point.
It is all about players expressing themselves and not being afraid to make mistakes. And I use a lot of my philosophies are what Tony uses, and I thank him for that, because hopefully I'll become as good a coach as he is one day.
What I really like about it, the game's not just an equation to Tony. While I was out of the game, I'm willing his team to do well. His team were offloading and playing, and you're just thinking, that's rugby league right there.
I think you probably underestimate the things that Tony brought in coaching that are still getting delivered today. You know, the culture we had throughout my time at the Rhinos Tony was a massive influence on that, and you know, the early part there, the early 2000s, that sort of set the standards for the good period of rugby we had.
What was special about Tony was his technical knowledge and his in-depth thoughts on the great game. I know I speak for my teammates when saying I think he improved every player. I know I would not have been the player I was without him. I think we were still using his core principles long he had left, which ultimately led to the golden decade.
Before he even took over, he initiated some one-to-one meetings, more so to get to know us and get to know our background and who we were, and it sort of sparked something with me. And I wasn't just going to be working with a coach, I was working with somebody who cared about us away from the training ground.
It opens my eyes up to how to play rugby league, and not just that, actually, you know, the whole perspective about the game off the field, and changed me as a player.
Believe it or not, was playing with him at St George in Australia, and so I was playing alongside him. That's the earliest memory. Intelligent, smart, slow. Not many slower than me, but he was slower than me. But a competitor. He would compete on everything, and took that into his coaching.
Thanks for all your help and support over the years, not just at our time as coach and player, but beyond that. I love working with you, and I'm very happy to call you a friend.
You know, I'm really appreciative for everything that he's done for me. Whilst I talk about what he's done as a coach and everything, he's made me a better person. He's made me a stronger person. Our friendship has grown from that player-coach to, you know, a genuine friendship.
I owe a great deal to Tony Smith for the journey that I went on.
So the great Tony Smith there, 500 games in charge as a Super League coach. No better way really to start this week's programme. An incredible achievement from Tony Smith. 2 Super League titles, a World Club Challenge, 2 League Leaders Shields and 3 Challenge Cups as well to his name. And something tells me that won't be the end of the silverware that he wins by the time he finally gives up coaching. Great man, great coach.
Yeah, we've made no secret of our admiration for Tony Smith.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, the way he transformed Warrington, just a pity he couldn't get us over the line with the grand final. Yep. But you know, my memory of Tony Smith is, I'd never seen it before. When he first took over at Warrington, he used to stand with his back to Warrington players training and watch what the opposition were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never seen a coach do that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought, and you know, he sorted out discipline-wise, culture-wise. He got the club ticking, and it looks like he's doing. I'm not commenting on the culture at KR or anything like that, but looks like he's doing the same at Hull KR with the same coaching principles and philosophies, and doing well.
Yeah, and to be fair, for those mate who's got the League Express this week, he talks about that in there, a couple of quotes out of that. He says that it takes some time to instill some of the changes in culture and belief, both the self-belief and the belief of other people. And he goes on to talk about what he did at Huddersfield, what he did at Leeds, what he did at Warrington, and what he's now doing at Hull KR. And it's very much a ground-up approach that he takes. You saw in that little montage there, people talking about the fact that he makes them better people. He invests in players, and that basically gets him the respect, the admiration, and of course, people run through brick walls for you when you achieve that, don't they?
Exactly. Look what he did for Lee Breers.
Lee
Breers, I don't know whether people will agree or disagree, was massively underachieving at Warrington.
Yeah,
until
absolutely.
Tony Smith arrived, and he turned him into probably one of the best players in Super League.
Well, he got a Lance Todd trophy, mate.
Yeah.
He got a Lance Todd trophy, and of course that meant the world to Lee Breers. We could sit here all night. We haven't got the time pontificating about the great Tony Smith, but we haven't got the time. We've got a lot of action to get through. We've got 2 rounds of Super League to look back on, some great tries. We've got the usual segments. We've also got to look ahead to round 10. I don't know how we've crammed this one in, doing the day job and getting this ready, but hey, we've done it. We've managed it, and here we are. Happy days. So before we get into round 8, just a few quick shout outs. There's a round ball being kicked around somewhere tonight, but people are deciding to talk about the only sport that's worth talking about and actually joining us, which is absolutely marvellous. Joey Jenner, Barry Williams, Alan Banks, Kate J. Morelli, and Graham Parrish. Good evening to you and the many others that are already tuning in to see us. Hopefully you enjoy the show tonight. We're going to look back at all the action from rounds number 8 and number 9, and we're going to have some fun along the way. So before we do start looking at game number 1, let's take a look at who the top performers were in round number 8. Here we go. So there we go, the top performers of round number 8. Some big performances in there. Good to see Gareth O'Brien, who's raced up the goal kicking charts over the Easter weekend. A hat-trick, of course, in there for Toby King. Some big assist stats coming in as well. Josh Drinkwater, Gareth Widdop and Jake Truman, all with 3 apiece. Tommy Makinson continuing to impress on pretty much all fronts, it's got to be said. Ben Curry arguably having his best game for Warrington this season against Salford. Danny Houghton yet again top tackler in the round. So all in all, some really good performances in there. Easter weekend always separates I won't say the men from the boys, but it's a shifting weekend. 2 rounds very much in quick succession. So let's just jump straight in, shall we? So we've got a lot to get through this evening. So we may as well get in there, aren't we, and have a little bit of sport. So here we go. Let's remind ourselves of what the fixtures were all about. In round number 8, here they were. Of course, Dragons took on Toulouse in the first all-French game in Super League. Wakefield took on Castleford. Leeds taking on the Giants. Warrington, Salford. Hull KR, Hull FC, the Hull Derby. And finally, the curtain came down on Good Friday with the traditional game, St Helens against Wigan. So we're going to kick off by looking at game number 1, which of course was the Dragons taking on Toulouse. And yet again, mate, Toulouse, they're not the pushover that many people felt they were going to be.
I don't wish to give any spoilers away, but they've had a real unlucky weekend.
Yeah, they have.
They could have quite easily walked away with it with 4 points instead of no points.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. This was a good try, though. This was a good try.
Even better, speeding up.
Took it well. Yeah, we actually put that one up for try the round. It didn't really get placed, but it was a good try. It was a good try.
Good. It's a good wingers try, a strong, solid wingers try.
Yeah.
He had. I'm not so sure about the defence, but this little that there is.
That's just good wing play, mate. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's class.
Just good wing play. And Yaha and Davis on the other side, just starting to get going. They've had a bit of a slow start to the season, but yeah, really start to move now in the right direction. I'll tell you a bit of a shame. Obviously, Armitage scores in this game, and Armitage is going to be potentially out the same this week. That could impact Toulouse. He's been in great form this season, hasn't he, Armitage?
Yeah, he has. I'm not quite sure why that went up as a no try.
No. Well, just one of many odd decisions this weekend in terms of video referees, but that's another story.
To me, I thought that was a good try.
Yeah, it was an odd one. It was an odd one. I'll tell you who's starting to get there as well. Mitchell Pearce, probably more in the second game than the first game, and that lad as well, Chan. He's having a good season.
He's been. I think Chan's been one of the outstanding players for Catalan this season.
Yeah.
He's a bit like his dad in that respect, but he's a solid performer. And you're right that the halfbacks, frighteningly for the rest of Super League, look like they might be starting to fire a little bit.
Yeah. I think Pearce had a slow start, but I mean that happens, doesn't it? Often, some players it takes a little bit of time for him.
I think he was always going to spend that long in the NRL. That it's a culture shock as much as anything for somebody who's been in the NRL for that long.
Yeah, no, agreed.
We see it quite a lot, don't we? That players who perform well in the NRL come across and struggle.
Great pass that, over the top, lovely looping ball. Like I say, that's Drinkwater. And this is the thing, we've always been very, very complimentary of Drinkwater over the last 2 seasons since we've done this. And, he was in the team of the week in round 7, Drinkwater. He's another one who's having a really good go at it this year.
Yeah.
Here's Armitage.
So, I mean, he's a good player, isn't he, Armitage?
He's impressed me. Yeah, up until this season, didn't really know who the guy was. If I'm being who the guy was, that's an interesting pun. Didn't know who he was. But you know what? Every time I've seen Toulouse, he's put his hand up. He looks a solid. I think he's better in offence than he is defence. I'd say he's probably got to work a little bit on his defensive qualities. But he's on that right edge. He's potent, and he's an handful.
He's going to cause some teams some problems. The more Toulouse get used to playing at this level, he's one of the players that is going to cause problems. A little bit of handbags there.
Yeah, it's always good to see a bit of handbags in a derby. I mean, it was a shocker. It was Pelissier, wasn't it? It was an absolute shocker. It was Pelissier, wasn't it? You come flying in, steady on, sir. And I wouldn't mind as well. If they met in a dark alley, there's no way Pelissier's going in on Cassiano like that, is there?
No. I'm surprised that's just a yellow, though.
Yeah, no, it was a bit reckless. Yeah, but saying that, I mean, we'll see Bentley against Cass later. How the hell that was just a yellow and not a red, I'll never know. But that's another story.
Sam Powell, sir, that's...
Yeah, we'll get to that as well. That was a poor talent. But I tell you what, we'll talk about it when we get to Wigan. He's having a good season. Matt Whitley. He's having a really good year for Catalan as well. He's had a very, very strong start for the Dragons this year, and continuing to cause a bit of a threat. But I was really impressed that Toulouse didn't give up.
Say again, sir, right?
Just really impressed that Toulouse didn't give up. And, against, we'll see the game against KR later. And, fair play to Toulouse. That was a bad challenge, that from Chan, to be fair. It didn't look great. It has to be said. No. Oh dear. And to be fair, Catalan's got a bit of form on that this year. Mitchell Pearce has had a couple. They need to be working on the defensive technique because
was it Mitchell Pearce's reaction then?
Yeah.
Did he not get a card for that?
I'm not. I think he had 10. I think he took 10 for that.
Did he take 10?
Yeah, he took 10 for that. Yeah. This was Matty Russell. Good effort. Good effort.
So he's still scoring tries.
He's the Cheadles.
He must be about 87 now, Matty Russell. But he's still scoring tries.
I'll never forget when he had his front teeth knocked out at the wire.
Cheadles.
The Cheadles.
That was that kind. I think that affected him more than he'd like to
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't the same player after that for a long time.
No,
but
he wasn't.
Tell you what, I mean, that was one hell of a shot on him, wasn't it? Again, no card was shown. It was apparently a fair tackle.
Yeah.
We're
on about the Russell one now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're on about the Russell one.
The fact that witness guy was like 6 foot off the ground when he hit him.
Good evening to everybody. Alex Sharp, Catalan are not good as they are last year, but I think out of 9 they have only lost 2. One when they turned up late and the other telling so they're not playing that well and still grinding out the wins. Yeah, I think Catalan will be thereabouts, Alex, to be fair. I think they're having a decent crack of it. They're thereabouts. I think that, you know, as we have always said, it's not how you start in Super League, it's how you finish. They'll just want to be in contention at this point. They've got
remember they've got a new half-back pairing. We had a very successful half-back pairing for the last couple of years. Tompkins wasn't there.
Yeah, no.
Morg isn't there. They've got a few injury problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're still winning. And I think I think they'll be there or thereabouts, I must admit.
No, I don't disagree, and I think they've got, like I say, they've got the firepower, they've got the flair, and I think if they hit the ground running at the latter end of the season, they'll be a tough team to beat, which is what it's all about. In that game that we've just seen, Catalan, I think, I'm trying to remember who the man of the match was in that. So let's just quickly go back. It was Ben Garcia. And good to see the crowds up as well over Easter. The crowds really, you know, some really big crowds starting to fill up.
A massive positive for no, I was at Warrington on Thursday expecting to be stood on my own. There was 8,000 there. That's
8,000.
That's not.
And of course, next week we're back on Channel 4 again because it's the Wigan game is on Sunday, not the Saturday. But it's going to be on Channel 4 again. So, you know, plenty of Super League next week when we get to round 10 later.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see the crowds up.
Yeah, it was a good the height. Well, we've not had Easter crowds for 2 years, have we?
We've not.
We can't really compare it. But yeah, I mean, Hull KR sell out again.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Yeah, phenomenal for the old
St Helens, Wigan, sellout. Always going to be a sellout at St Helens.
Yeah, good to see.
You can't sell it out at the DW.
Yeah. No, it's good. You're right. But, you know, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you know, you've got no limitations. It's probably too big a venue, really, the DW. But, you know, traditional rugby league grounds.
They have filled it, mate. They filled it in the past.
They have done in the past. But, you know, I think, you know, if we see the traditional rugby league grounds full, you know, these new stadiums that are built specifically for rugby league full, that's a good start. Right, a team who's had a really good Easter weekend is the Castleford Tigers. I remember early in the season, you know, Lee Radford was getting plenty of pelters, but all of a sudden, the Tigers are starting to purr, for want of a better word.
I knew you were going to say that.
Did you? What I would
say, raw.
What I would say is, I mean, you know, when we were coming away from the Warrington game on the Thursday night, this I think surprised everybody. I think we all backed Cass. I know I did anyway.
I backed Wakefield, I think, didn't I?
Let's have a quick look. You did. I backed Cass. Yourself and the fans forum backed Wakefield. I actually went Cass 0-8. This surprised everybody. Nobody saw this coming. This was an absolute battering. I mean, Wakefield have had a really, really tough Easter. There's no doubt about it. You know, 34 points against Cass and over 50 against Wigan. They've had a real shocker. But, you know, Cass in this game, fair play to them. They scored some lovely tries. Looks like they're starting to get the combinations. We know they've got the quality down the middle. They've got McShane. They've got Evans at fullback. Truman's a good player. Really pleased for Gareth O'Brien. Really pleased for Gareth O'Brien. Running the team, and he's really making a difference, isn't he?
He is. I've always liked Gaz O'Brien. I was surprised when Warrington let him go. You know, he scored that great try against Brisbane a few years ago in the World Club Challenge. Goal kicking alone, you know, he might have won a few more games for Warrington if we've had a goal kicker over the past few years. He's a solid. He's an unspectacular but a solid performer.
There's our mate, Mr. Edwards. Kenny Edwards there going in.
He was awesome this weekend, Kenny Edwards.
Yeah, he had a good game, and he was actually man of the match in this game as well. Kenny Edwards.
In the week on in the Rugby League and on Sky, I think. Kenny Edwards.
Good player.
Yeah,
playing well. And
I mean, that was cheeky.
Oh, mate, this was. I mean, what Liam Hood. He's not having many beers bought from in Wakefield this week, is he? In fact, that we deserve to watch that one again, don't we? That is absolute poetry. What is he doing? I mean, McShane, he's just like, The thing here, though. But yeah, but the thing here, though, mate, as well, is that Kay or is it Miller? Is it Liam Kay or is it Miller? They look so alike, them two. But he just stops behind. Look.
It's Kay, and it's Kay.
I mean, what's he doing? It's bad enough that Hood's done what he's done, but I mean, come on, you can't just let the lad trundle past you.
The thing that made me laugh was McShane actually stopped and thought, "Can I do this? can I?" And then he just thought, "Yeah," and scored. And he waited about half an hour, and the Wakefield players looked at him, and it was like something out of Wile E. Coyote. They looked at one another, and he's just suddenly ran.
That's a good try. That's a good try. I mean, he made up for his defensive laps there. Nice little ball over from Lionel. It's interesting because since the back-to-back wins against Warrington, Mason Lionel maybe not as potent as he was certainly in them two games. Needs to try and get a degree of consistency, is what I would say. But here he is, 100 tries for Greg Eden, our friend Greg Eden, who's having a great season. That's 100 up in Super League for Greg Eden.
He didn't feature on Easter Monday either.
He didn't know. I think I think that's good. I think that's good player management. I get a feeling there they probably just rested him a little bit. You know, we know he's had a difficult couple of seasons, and actually, and again in the League Express, you know, Lee Radford talks about Greg Eden and you know how much they've got to look after him and take care of him, and that's the right thing to do. Gaz O'Brien, 7 from 7, great win for Castleford. Great win for Castleford.
Massive win, totally unexpected.
Yeah,
the way the two teams have been playing. I mean, you know,
I backed him. I had a feeling, but not 34-4. Never in a million years did I say it's 34-4.
At the beginning of season predictions, I had Wakefield right down at the bottom. They've surprised me, Wakefield.
Yeah.
But the way Castleford have been playing, I thought Wakefield at home. It's a whole banker.
Yeah. But few more shout outs, sir. Good evening to Craig Sykes, Callum Linton, Paul Huskin, Steve Wilson. Welcome along for the ride. We hope you enjoy our chats around these games and the players and all things Super League. Right, mate. The Rhinos take on the Giants.
Yep.
Leeds, mate. I mean, you know, we know we're going to the Castleford game later, and Castleford did their best to let them in. Well, but, yeah. I mean, the story of this game is you're leading by 10 points with 3 minutes to go. I'm sorry, but it's just not acceptable. You know, credit here, McGilvery.
Good try.
Yeah, straight in, no messing. Good start for Huddersfield. And at this point, you're probably thinking, you know, Leeds are going to be in trouble again. But credit to them. You know, they came back. They got a bit of a roll on. And I thought Oletsky had a decent game in this game. This was
over this weekend, Reece Martin has proved that he's a class act.
He's quality, mate.
Yeah,
quality. He can walk out of this weekend with his head held high in both games. He certainly put his hand up, and he certainly wasn't.
You know, Cruz Lehman gets a lot of the plaudits, but Reece Martin, absolutely tremendous this weekend.
Yeah, great shout, mate. Great shout. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, again, though, Blake Austin, I mean, he was involved, you know, he featured heavily in this game, but, you know, again, against Cass, for whatever reason, not fancied. It's an interesting conundrum, that one.
He went off with a head knock.
Was it head knock? Oh, of course, yeah, he took a head knock, didn't he?
Yeah, it's Aidan Caesar who's been left out.
Yeah, that's it. It was Caesar, wasn't it? That's right. It was a head knock, wasn't it? He's doubtful this week, isn't he? Because of that head knock.
Well, he is. Right. He'll miss this week.
Because he failed his HIA, didn't he?
He's too short to turn around,
There's Latelli, and you know, Latelli just keeps popping up, doesn't he? Does Vicky Latelli? He just keeps popping up. It's like he's like Chris McQueen, isn't he? On the other side, he's just going about his business. He's popping up for the odd try here and there. He's having a good year. Is Latelli?
He's again a consistent performer. Yeah. You know, if he was in, and no disrespect against Huddersfield, he was in a more glamorous Sky Sports friendly team, he'd be getting all the plaudits.
Well, yeah, a Sky Sports team that says that one team is romping it when it's a 50-50 tussle and it's a really good game. But anyway, that's another story.
I was really 12-12,
really pleased for Gannon, and there's another man who's just constantly popping up, Luke Yates, again.
You called him all last year, mate.
All last year. I'm calling him again this year. He's a revelation in that position. You know, got that try, gave them a bit of belief, and then, of course, in his senior,
just incredible.
I mean, they have a kick to win it, and of course they missed that. They missed that kick to win it. Bentley there, the gift that just keeps giving, Mr. Bentley. We'll have a look at him. We'll have a look at him later. A little bit disappointed with the defensive effort of his teammates. And then, of course, it just becomes a bit of a, as these games tend to be on Golden Point, a little bit stupid. And this was the final chance for Blake Austin. And, of course, he pulled it.
Do you know what? This is another thing that if RFL is serious about player welfare, end the game at 80 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Especially on an Easter weekend.
What is wrong?
Easter weekend.
Yeah. I've just set my Siri off.
Oh dear. And you felt for the Giants.
The game finishing in a draw.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you feel for both teams. Not the best preparation for the Giants, hosting the Saints. But yeah, I mean, from a Leeds perspective, it was a point. From a Giants perspective, I think equally it was a point. I was listening to the latter stages in the car on the way home on BBC Leeds, and the commentary team there were saying that actually, based on the 80 minutes of rugby league, it was probably a fair result, the 20-all draw. But I agree with you. I think that, if we're serious about player welfare after 80 minutes, this isn't football. We're not kicking a ball. We're running at each other for 80 minutes.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
You don't in football, if it's 1-1 at full time or 0-0, you don't get another 20 minutes to win the game.
No, absolutely not.
It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's unnecessary. If you've earned a point, you've earned a point. And Huddersfield, 8 points down in the last 3 minutes, and earn a point and give them a point.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely agree. It'd have been a shame. It'd have been a shame for either team to have lost that game in the end.
I'm sorry, but you can't go bleating on about player welfare when, especially as you say, an Easter weekend.
Yeah, backing up in 2 days.
When you make the goal to goal point. I'm sorry, it's just ludicrous. And get your story straight, guys.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. Completely agree with you. So off to the Halliwell Jones. We were both there for this one, of course, and at last something to cheer about. Toby King, arguably his best game for probably a season. I think Fulis has had a good bank holiday weekend as well. I think Josh Fulis has had a good weekend.
Josh Fulis came of age this weekend.
I agree.
It would be criminal to drop him.
Shocking defence if you Salford. That's not good enough. Toby King there, straight in, very straightforward try.
I liked Ashton's reaction there. Ashton was up for both games.
I think Ashton's our best player, mate. I genuinely do. I think the lad's box office, so he's potentially box office. Here's Toby King, fair play. Never let a rugby ball bounce. We say that every single week. Don't allow a rugby ball to bounce. They did, and King goes in for 2. And I actually felt at half time, I thought the half time score of 16-6 flattered Salford. Warrington were very good in that first half.
They switched off in the last 5 minutes, Warrington.
Yeah, they did.
This was
again, nice try. Nice try.
Although when I saw it live on the ground, I thought he was that far in touch. He was ordering a pint at the bar, but when you see him back, he actually did took the chin down.
Yeah, stood up with a hot dog in his hand. Yeah, but you're right. They did, but he's saying that lovely kick.
Widdup shooting out the line again. He's murdered for that.
He is. But Braylon, and I've noticed this about Salford. They like that little kick in behind. Brody Croft, Mark Sneed, that little kick in behind for Ken Seo, who continues to back up last year.
Ken Seo scoring again.
Yeah, all the time, mate. Top try scorer again. At the end of the weekend with Jai Field.
I thought this was Fielding's best game for a long, long time.
Well, you're having a good night when Big Joe goes in. You know what I mean? You're having a good night at that point. It's like,
I thought our forwards. I thought Joe Bullock has taken a lot of stick, but I thought Joe Bullock had quite a good game. Both yesterday and on Thursday. I thought he played well, Joe Bullock, for both games.
This was a poor try to concede. I have to say. Jack Hughes expected probably to be out this week with that dislocated shoulder.
A while.
But yeah, I mean, number 19 there, Rob Mullen. He of all the Warrington forwards this year, he's the one that's impressed me the most. I think he's been good. Great finish from Ashton there. Great finish from Ashton. Like I say, he's Saints have got Regan Grace. There's been young players come through at other Super League clubs over the years. Wigan have had a few. Saints have had plenty. Leeds have had plenty. But, Matty Ashton for Warrington, I think this lad could go on to be something very special at Warrington.
Yeah,
very special.
He had a few injuries in his first season. If he can get over that and stay injury free, he's going to be a world beater.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's.
And I tell you what, a word for the referee. Was it Jack Smith?
Yes, it was.
I thought he had a real good game.
Yeah, I agree.
In a weekend where referees are, and you know, we don't want this to become a ref bashing hour and a half or whatever, but in a weekend where there's been a lot of talk about referee decisions, I thought he had an absolutely superb game and let it flow really well.
Yeah, he did let it flow. I
Nobody
agree with
noticed
that.
him. Nobody noticed him. He just got on with it. He got I'd say 90% of the calls right. There are always going to be mistakes, but I thought he had a real good game. I'm sure somebody will disagree with me, but I thought he refereed it well. He really did. So credit where credit's due for referees.
Credit where credit is due, indeed. And then we go to the Hull derby, and we all said it. We fancied KR for this. KR in great form. I think all of us went KR. Oh no, sorry, no, you went FC, didn't you?
I went FC.
You went FC. But no, myself and the fans forum went KR. And KR come up trumps in this one. A really, really solid performance from Hull KR. This will have hurt the Hardy Birds without question. But yeah, really good. This was, I mean, Ryan Hall, another player who's had a fabulous Easter weekend. You know, he just doesn't seem to deteriorate, does he? You see, his career just keeps moving forward. You know, credit to him. There's Parcell, another player who's having for me, he's a great player. Taught this week though that he's back off to the NRL at the end of the season. That's a blow for Hull KR.
It wouldn't surprise me, but Jez Litton's a good player.
He is a good player.
Jez Litton's I think an adequate, more than adequate replacement for him, and that's possibly why they're going to let him make the move back. Ryan Hall, he's like Tommy Makinson at Saints, just consistent week in, week out.
Absolutely.
Very, very rarely see him make an error.
No, he's just consistent. I always remember, was it the playoff at Huddersfield where, you know, Huddersfield for all the world had won it, and it was a length of the field try to put them through. I always have that vision of Ryan Hall. And he also, if memory serves me right, didn't he score a hat-trick in the Challenge Cup for Leeds? I think he did.
In a final?
But yeah, I think he... Oh, was it... Or am I confused? Oh, no, it was England, sorry. He scored a hat-trick for England at Wembley, that's right. I remember that.
That was a game where that helicopter was going back and two over the Pennines. I did feel sorry for that pilot. He was seasick when he got home.
There's a collector's item. Josh Reynolds, 1 playing, 2 scoring. Did I just say that? but yeah, no, nice collector's item there. But he took it well, to be fair. Josh Griffin, we're big fans of Josh Griffin at Super League Raw.
Look at that crowd, though. Look at the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So you're right. It was brilliant to see. Great atmosphere. Great game to watch on Sky. Really enjoyed it. There's a little dab through. Not quite. Lynette's out injured as well, I believe. I think Lynette's going to miss a couple.
There's a few as well. There's been a few who've been ruled out. Savelio and Dodd out for the season.
Yeah, massive that.
Massive blows.
Yeah. I mean, without doubt, Savelio's been in great form for the Black and Whites, and you know, Dodd, what a catastrophe. I mean,
especially for England in the World Cup as well.
Yeah, he's got age on his side. He'll come back, but you know, it's just such a shame.
Is it the same injury as Cater?
Exactly the same injury, and we know what and I think the difference is I don't see Saints rushing him back anytime soon. That was Lachlan Coote's first. Didn't he score back to back? And there was only a few minutes between these tries, weren't there?
They scored. I think they scored straight away.
About 5 or 6 minutes between them. But yeah, I mean, this one. I mean, Coote. They went big for Coote. You know, obviously, this was a good take here. Now, this is lovely step. 2 lovely steps.
This was my try of the week.
Yeah, that's where the try was made, wasn't it? Without doubt. This actually came second in the try of the week. 21% of the fans forum wrote went to Lachlan Coote
I think maybe I know where the try of the week went to.
Possibly.
I think I might know
possibly. But no, great try. But I think, you know, it weren't really Coote, was it? I mean, the work was done for him there. Some really lovely steps. And
my try of the week, because it was the game breaker. It settled it. Hull could have come back into it, and I think that finished them off.
Absolutely. And Coote, starting to look like the coot of old. And good evening to Tony Goodin, a young man called Alan John Kane is with us, Tracy Wilson, Craig Sykes, Callum Linton. Good evening to you all. Welcome along to this extended edition because, of course, we've got 2 rounds of Super League to get through. So, yeah, well done to Hull KR in that game. Tony Smith's 499th game in charge of a Super League team. And then, of course, the curtain came down. Yeah, and, you know, before we roll the tape, but do you know what? The Super League have thrown probably the best at Saints, and they haven't missed a beat, have they? I expected this to be closer. I have to be honest. I think you know, but here he is, Tommy Makinson. That's a couple of odd decisions in terms of the bounces. That wasn't given. That wasn't given, but the Bachelor one was. And I didn't see much in it either way.
As the commentary team says, if you give one, you give the other. If you don't give one, you don't give the other. It's just, it's a lottery.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lottery. And even with a video ref, they're getting it wrong. And this was the one that wasn't given, wasn't it?
No, not given. No try. Said that he lost the ball.
Clearly dropped it.
Hull's having a great year. Hull's having a great year.
But he's in a good side.
Year.
He's in a good side. Me and you could slot in at centre for Saints and look good.
Steady.
But I'd be on the wing.
Yeah, but you know, this
one is given.
No, this was one that again was disallowed. He actually knocked it on into field, didn't he? But the interesting thing about this one, you know, we've given Jay Field a lot of plaudits and we'll continue to do so. But to be fair, I mean, I'm guessing he knew he'd knocked it on because he was a very, either that or one, he didn't track back, or two, he's a very cool customer and he knows he's going to get the try disallowed. Because if you at no point did he, you know, and let's be fair, in a foot race, I'd fancy Field to at least ankle tap him, but he just didn't even bother. He just, you know, just stayed where he was really. But yeah, it was that one was deemed a knock on.
And there was a great ankle tap. There was a great ankle tap in one of the games, and I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, and I'll try. I know the one you mean.
This game.
I think it was this game. I'm trying to think who it was. It might actually be on the highlights now. Yeah. This first try. This is try of the week.
I thought it might have been.
Mr. Field, 47% of the fans forum gave this one try of the week. Yeah. I mean, the highlight reel of his tries this year up to now, it's frightening, isn't it?
He doesn't score. He doesn't score flop over the line, does he?
No, he's in great form. In great form, and you know, at this point, you're thinking hello. You know, but then after that, you know, it's all Saints. Yeah. Here he comes, Tommy, in at the corner. No problem whatsoever. That's what it meant to him. Obviously, being a part of this fixture for many, many years. Passion, that's what you like to see.
That's a good finish.
It's a great finish. He's having a great season, Tommy Makinson. Yeah. And then, of course, here he goes again.
That was a thing of beauty, that try.
It was, mate. It was a thing of beauty. I agree with you.
It was a great try.
It was a great try. Completely agree. I think we were texting each other, weren't we? Words to that effect.
That was a thing of beauty. That
it was a thing of beauty. I mean, Makinson's having a great season, and you know that, you know, try maker there. Lomax, another one who's having a great season. You know, should we be surprised? No, we shouldn't be. You know, Saints are what Saints are. Percival is another guy who's having a great season. This one was given. This is the Bachelor try. Not too dissimilar to Conrad Hurrell's.
This is the one, this is the one.
But again, got given. And for me, I actually think the Hurrell one was less contentious than this one.
He puts it down on his foot and then loses it.
Yeah.
It's not a try.
That's
not a try.
That for me, if you're going to not give one, then you're not giving that. This was shocking. That was shocking.
How is that not a red card?
Well, it should have been a red card. For once, Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook, I get it. I completely understand that. But do you know what? I'm going to give praise to Matt Pete here, because what was really refreshing at full time is, unlike Arsene Wenger, he did see it. And he basically said that, you know, he defended his play to a degree. You know, he was cut up over it, young lad. You know, it's his first game. And again, you know, we saw this when Will Price got his 10 matches. You know, straight to the player on the way off. Powell did exactly the same here. Straight over to the player. Bit of remorse. But yeah, you know, without question, Matt Pete said it as it was. He expects Sam Powell to be sitting out for quite a few matches. And I thought that was refreshing for a coach to do. He came out and said it exactly as it was.
Yeah, I agree 100%, mate. I mean, the thing that gets me is how is it not a red? How is that not a red card?
No. There was a couple this weekend. I mean, Bentley was a lucky boy not to get a straight red.
And yet the thing is, if Bentley had gone down clutching his head, the other player might well have got a red. Bit of poetry there for you on a Tuesday night.
Well, nothing wrong with a bit of poetry. I've always said you've got a bit of Keats in you, sir. Yeah. Carry on.
Well, that's enough of that. Yeah.
You've lost your track.
Oh, you're frozen, or I've frozen, or somebody's frozen.
No, we can hear you. Go on, carry on. Can you hear us? Oh, well, we've temporarily lost Greg by the looks of it. He will be back, I'm sure.
Did I freeze or did you freeze?
Oh, yeah, you're back. It was you. Abbas, there's Abbas Miski. Unfortunate there, going down the wing. Obviously in for Zach Hardaker, who missed the game for conduct not becoming a wigging player. They haven't said much more about that at this stage, but it's an off-the-field incident, isn't it?
Yeah, and quite right too. They've dealt with it. It's a disciplinary. Let's not have it all over the papers what he's done. I'm sure the club dealt with it. But going back to before a froze with Bentley, and if it had gone down, it was good to see Chris Hill saying that there's too much play acting coming into the game and it needs stamping out. I thought that was good from Chris Hill, isn't it? You know, there's a few players who are getting a bit vocal this season about things, and it's good to see.
It is good to see.
They're recognising that we're at a real critical moment in the sport where we could be losing people from the sport if things aren't sorted out. It's good that the players recognise that, I think. So let's hope that's acted on. I mean, you know, it's a difficult one. You know, if you ignore a head injury because you think they're faking and it turns out to be, you know, a real bad injury, you've got to be really careful. But I think he's right. I think there is a trend that's been growing since about 2016 of players going down in back play and getting the game stopped.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's a thing that's dragged in from the round ball game, and I'm not a fan of it.
No, and I think, you know, when players come out and say things like that, you know, I think you know, rather than get your rose tinted glasses on and start, you know, going on about, you know, Chris Hill, because let's be fair, Chris Hill's done a bit, and I know Chris Hill, he went through a period where every player was biting him, if you remember, at Warrington, and that was quite, what's he doing? He just seemed to have an head explosion for a period of time. But do you know what? That doesn't matter. You know, when a player's calling something out and they're factually correct and they're trying to make the game a better thing, I think what we've all got to do is actually get off our high horse and just say, yeah, you're right, and wholeheartedly get behind that honesty and integrity and support him, as opposed to do the old, you know, let's bash the opposition. No, let's not. You know, when the 80 minutes is over, you know, people then try and promote the game, and I think it's important that what we do at that point is once the sport is over, I think we all have got the same passion, which is the game, and I think you know that's
exactly. So let's get rid of this element that seems to be hell bent on not ruining it, but stretching the rules, and people don't watch rugby league to see players pretending to be injured.
No,
well, watch football if you want to watch that.
Absolutely.
You know, go watch Foden at City do 85 million rolls.
Anyway, shall we take a look at the team of the week for round number 8?
I think we must.
Let's take a look at team of the week for round number 8. Here we go. From Coots of Paul KR in his first Hull. It's the team of the week for round number 8. Here we go again, and at fullback, it's Lachlan Coote of Paul KR. In his first Hull derby, it was Coote who absolutely terrorised the Ardley Birds and gets the victory for Tony Smith's men. And number 2, he's there once again. It's Tommy Makinson. Oh, it was a great try to sink the Wigan Warriors. Makinson still the top point scorer, 82 for the season and counting. And number 3, it's his compadre, his right-hand man, as it were, Mark Percival having a great season, isn't he, in 2022? Another try, another assist. Well, it's consistency at its best. And number 4, making his debut in this year's Team of the Week is Toby King with a hat-trick of tries against the Salford Red Devils. King on form and the wire with a win. And at number 5, well, it's his winger, Matty Ashton, the two combining very, very well to put out the flames of the Red Devils. Well done to Matty this week. And at number 6, at standoff, it will be Jake Truman of the Castleford Tigers. A brilliant performance against the Wakefield Trinity in a 34 points to 4 victory. And it was Truman with 3 try assists that really drove the dagger home. And at number 7, it's Josh Drinkwater of the Catalan Dragons. A very tight affair against the Toulouse Olympic in the first ever Super League French derby. 3 more assists for Drinkwater was the difference. And number 8, well, despite the Huddersfield Giants coming back to draw 20 apiece, Mikolai Aletsky of the Leeds Rhinos was in great form. 135 metres from 17 carries. They need more of that if they're going to go up the table. And number 9, oh, what a cheeky little try. What was Liam Hunt doing? Paul McShane was on the mark. A fantastic try from McShane and also an assist in this game. Fantastic to see the little man back at his best. And at number 10, a surprise maybe for many, but Rob Mulhern, this guy, is getting better season on season, game by game. Warrington need more of this in the forwards as the season goes on. But well done to Mulhern, 130 metres. And number 11, perhaps his best game of the season thus far, was Benjamin Curry to his friends, or Sir Ben. Warrington Wolves need this man firing on the left edge, and he was in great form against the Salford Red Devils. At number 12, it was Reece Martin. He was superb, wasn't he? 1 try, 4 goals. Oh, Martin tried his best to get the Rhinos a win, but unfortunately the Giants came back, and the reason why the Giants came back was perhaps this man, Luke Yates. He's there again. A very, very vital try sent the Huddersfield Giants back on track to get to a 2020 result and a golden point. Well done to them. Ladies and gentlemen, the team of the week for round number 8. The team of the week for round number 8, Reggie. Highlight of your week, I know, sir.
On debut.
On debut, absolutely. Toby King, absolutely. You know what? Great team. Yeah, I'll stand
Liam
by
Farrell
that.
missing from there, mate, for the first time, I think, this season.
What's that, mate?
Really only the second time. No Liam Farrell.
No Liam Farrell in the second row. I mean, it's, you know, Coote's been there a couple of times now at full back. Obviously, Field's having a field day. Tommy Makinson. Lots of team.
I think he's only missed 1 week, Tommy Makinson.
Yeah, not missed many. Percival, he's been a consistent one in there. Josh Drinkwater a couple of times he's appeared. Good to see McShane back in it. Luke Yates has been in a couple. But yeah, you know, I stand by that round 8 team of the week. I stand by it. I think it was a good looking side. Here it is again.
Yes, I agree, totally.
Tidy little team. Some really, really good performances in there, it has to be said. Right, before we get into the round 9 action, let's should we take a look at who the top performers were in round number 9 in Super League?
Let's do it.
Lots to get through. Here we go. Let's have a look at round number 9. So there we go, the round number 9 top performers, plenty of love there going around, a couple of tries, a couple of assists for many players. But yeah, well done to all of the above as we now move towards what were the round 9 fixtures. So let's very, very quickly, let's get there.
It's good to see Morg back for Catalan.
Was good to see Arthur Morg, obviously with Sam Tompkins now out for a couple of weeks. It's still to go.
He's got a few more weeks out, hasn't he, Tompkins?
We've always said he's a good player. He's Arthur Morg. Right, this was round 9. So the Castleford Tigers welcome the Leeds Rhinos. The big hit, again, we've said at the start of the programme tonight, the best of the Super League have gone up against Saints, and Saints just keep marching on. It was the Giants' turn. I expected, again, the Giants to really be a stern test for Saints, but in the end, as we're about to see, Saints carry on this impressive run. Salford Red Devils go against the Catalan Dragons. Then it was Wigan taking on Wakefield Trinity. Toulouse welcomed Hull KR in an epic. And then, of course, to bring the curtain down on the weekend, a really tight affair at the MKM Stadium in Hull. So that was round 9. Let's get straight into it, shall we? We're going to kick off with what was the first game live on Sky. It was the Tigers taking on the Rhinos. I thought Castleford did their best to let the Rhinos back in. I thought Castleford had them in the pocket, but they just, credit again to Leeds, they hung in there, didn't they?
They did. I mean, they made a few changes as well. There was a couple of debutants, a couple of players on debut. A little Dickie Bird telling me that Kevin Sinfield's son made a debut. Surprised the Sky commentators didn't mention it. It's Kevin Sinfield's son making his debut here.
Was it his debut? I thought he played once before.
He played in the cup. I think we're thinking of McNamara's son.
What can I say from McShane? McShane's had a really, really, really good.
That was a really good. Though.
Yeah, but he's had a really
good. That was a great tackle. That was an amazing tackle.
Yeah.
But McShane seems to have found his form again.
Yeah, I agree. And here's Durrell. Been a bit quiet, Durrell Olferts this year. He was in and around team of the week
last year.
Yeah, he was in and around team of the week quite a lot last year.
That should have been a penalty for a poor play of the ball.
Yeah, Truman's kick again there. Down it went. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Gets disallowed all this one.
It does, yeah, but again, it's poor. It's poor from Leeds. I mean, I was watching this and I'm just thinking, sorry, Leeds fans, but I was just thinking, how poor is this? I mean,
to me, that goes back. And there was one in the second half where the ball clearly goes backwards for a Castleford try. And Hicks, who's the video ref, says, "Oh no, that's gone forward," and it clearly goes backwards.
Yeah. Apologies here for the man of the match and the attendance. It was poor from Mamo. Want to announce the attendance prior to going on air. Not quite sure what it was. Man of the match. You can take your own view on that as well. I can't remember who Sky gave it to. As you say, we don't do this for a living. I've done well to get it all to get all this sorted. So apologies for that. Didn't quite get it all.
No, the attendance. I think it was close to a full house.
What here was it?
Yeah,
Fair play.
Close to a full house.
Well, yeah, Mamo there. Mamo there. Like I say, they just kept letting him back in. I thought Cass for large parts of this game looked very comfortable indeed. Just kept letting them in. But this man's had a great Easter. You said it earlier, Reece Martin, tried his best, didn't he, in both games? Really good point scoring. He's a very cool customer, isn't
he? He goes under the radar.
Yeah.
He's one of those players that
there's our James. There's our James.
There
he is. There he is. Our James. You can always rely on James, can't you? He's got to get this out of his game, hasn't he? I mean, he's an absolute, at the moment, I mean, I've seen a lot of banter on some of the Facebook pages. He's an absolute liability.
Well, that should have been a penalty.
He should have been.
I can understand why he's annoyed, because he gets an elbow to the face.
Yeah.
And like I say, if he'd have done the play acting that Chris Hill has been criticising, that card could have gone the other way.
Yeah, it could have been. But you can't challenge like that though, mate. It was a shocker.
I know, I'm not condoning it. What I'm saying is I can understand his frustration, because I think he took a fairly bad hit, the tackle before.
Yeah.
And I think this is this. I think
this is Mr. Watts.
Yes.
This is Mr. Watts going through.
He got man of the match. Liam Watts got man of the match.
And rightly so. I don't really argue with that. It's always good to see. He's a solid customer, Liam Watts. He's a great player.
I thought Westerman had an absolutely fantastic
game. Well. Yeah, Westerman played well as well. Westerman's he's like I say, he was great last year for Wakefield, and he's carried on where he's left off at Cass. But you go again. Nice here try. He is, Mr. Martin going in again. It was a nice try. 76 minutes gone. They weren't giving up, and to my recollection, he slots this over, doesn't he?
He does. Well. Yeah, and when you consider Blake Austin was off for about 65 minutes with a head injury.
Yeah.
They've got no Aidan Caesar, so they didn't have a recognised halfback partnership.
Tell you what, mate, to slot, I mean, you look at how quick he took that. To slot it over from there, he wastes no time. He knows the clock's ticking. And it was an absolute beauty, that, considering how quickly he took it. Yeah. And at that point, it's game on still. And Cass, like I say, great weekend for him, 4 points from 4. But I felt in that game they just left the light on a little bit for Leeds.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Brad Dwyer, who had to play 60-odd minutes.
Yeah.
And probably wasn't as effective as he would have liked to have been, I would have thought. But fair play. He's a player that comes on for 10, 15 minutes at a time. But had to do when Austin went off, had to do 60-odd minutes. But Ben Lees, he didn't do it at Saints, so why is he doing it at Leeds?
No, if you remember, mate, he got the odd yellow at Saints. He was always a bit of a liability at Saints because when Saints, but when Saints sold him, there was a lot of Saints fans who weren't too disappointed, because he does have that in his game, and he's got to get it out of his game, because he
wasn't as noticeable at Saints, I don't think.
Well, it's more noticeable when you're playing in a poor team, and at the end of the day, he's been brought in for probably decent money at Leeds. He's got to take some level of responsibility. Yes, he's got to do things right.
As like I say, I can understand his frustration with some of the challenges he had to put up with. That should have been a penalty against him.
Yeah.
And I'm not defending him, but he's obviously frustrated with the way Leeds are playing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But can't disagree with that.
Like a different way and pull your team through to a win rather than get yourself sent off every other week.
Couldn't agree with you more, mate. Good evening to Steve, who's just joined us. Right, Saints and Huddersfield Giants. Like I say, I was expecting more from Huddersfield. 24-12. It's not, it's not a bad result when you consider how Saints are playing.
They were winning at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, I just expected, again, like the Wigan game, I just expected it to be slightly tighter. But this young man's done well, hasn't he? Obviously when Grace comes back, he's probably going to go straight into the team. But Benison's he's done well, lad. He's come in, he's done well.
He's not done a lot wrong.
No,
he hasn't. No, I don't think they were winning with it. I think they kept going back level.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking of Wakefield at Wigan.
But here they go. Yeah, again, Cudjoe out to Ash Goulding. Good to see Ash Goulding on the score sheet.
Yeah.
That's
a good, strong finish, that. He
is a good, strong finish.
Finish that off.
Yeah, it is a good, strong. He's had his injury problems. Good to see Parsi, in he goes. There's the lad. Parsi going in. He's a big unit, and he's a big lad, no doubt about it. But yeah, that was a penalty, of course, and again, respect shown by Saints.
Another one that could go either way, though. That could quite easily be a penalty to Huddersfield for not playing the ball properly.
Yeah, but again, good respect there from Saints. Saints respectful of. I think they get the penalty for this. Yeah, they get the penalty for that.
Yeah,
and rightly so. It was a tad late, to say the least. And of course, yeah, you're right. I mean, it was close to a point, but as we saw with the Wigan game was close to a point. But Saints have just got this habit at the moment of allowing just staying with a team in the first half, and then in the second half they just seem to be putting the foot on the accelerator. And away they go.
They know how to win.
Yeah, Roby at scrum half in this game.
Yes.
Good try from Percival. Great try from Percival. Really good.
And good to see the travelling contingent from Saints as well.
Yeah, I think that's. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this. I think that's the best crowd this season to date at Huddersfield. 6,500.
And based on the back of a good Saints following.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, Lawyer did well here. He did very well here. That took some scoring. That look at Parsi, good effort. Good effort from Parsi. That you can't knock that from a prop. And I tell you what, he nearly got him as well.
Oh,
credit.
I think he went off after that. I think he did.
Yeah, I think he was on oxygen.
I think he was in emergency ward 10. But don't tell him I said that.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
You and me.
But fair play. And it's Batchelor again, and he goes for
He's
another
had
one.
a good Easter weekend, Joe Batchelor.
He has, hasn't he? Joe
He's
Batchelor's done well. And of course, the reason why they allowed our friend at Leeds to go, when you've got a player like Batchelor coming in.
They do it well, don't they? They bring him through well.
And there's Mr. Lomax, a brace for him over the weekend as well, Johnny Lomax.
Yeah, but they spot talent and they bring it through, and they're not afraid to let I'm not saying better, but bigger name players go to bring the youngsters through. It's what Wigan did for years, and it's what Saints are doing now, and Leeds did as well.
Hey up, we've got a few going in here now. Andy and Sue, around 10 games could be dominated and results dependent on Easter fatigue, injuries and bans. Absolutely, we'll get to them in a minute. Mark Atak's back. Your friend, Mr. Atak, is back. Giants did well with all the regulars rested. Jerry, Hill, McQueen, Latelli, Price, Wardle, English missing. Will beat them with a full team. We'll hold you to that, Mark, when you play them later in the campaign. But yeah, I mean, look, Huddersfield are in great form and, deservedly where they are in the table. And I think, it says a lot that, I'm saying here that, I was disappointed that they weren't a bit tighter. But that in itself is a respectful comment to how well Huddersfield have played this season. I just expected them to push Saints just that little bit more.
I thought this game was going to be a little bit tighter, I must admit.
Did you? No, I fancied Catalan for this.
I fancied Catalan. I didn't think although I probably said 18 plus in my predictions.
Yeah, but Pearce, mate, Pearce in this game ran the show. Really, really impressive performance by Mitchell Pearce. Ryan Brearley, there's that kick again. That little kick, again, very
almost a carbon copy of the try against Warrington.
And not just that, we've seen this many times throughout the season. They do like that little play.
Ryan Brearley's an underrated player. He's a real good player, Ryan Brearley.
But I think defences especially on the left edge, need to be aware of that. Seen them do that many, many times. That was a cracking pass. That was a ball of the highest quality.
That just bamboozled everyone.
Arthur Morgan, we've always said that he'd probably start in most Super League teams. Arthur Morgan is a good player, and that was a bullet pass, really, really good from him. Again, good play, Benny, Tommy Davis there on the far side.
Like you said earlier on, the wingers are now hitting the straps for Catalan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Davis,
well, they were massively important to him last year. Hugely important to him last year.
Let's face it, the big Yaha especially is bigger than some forwards.
There's your man. Look at that from Morg again.
Brilliant.
I mean, Morg he had a great game. Arthur Morg, he had a great game.
Did he play on Friday, or was his first game back?
I think he did play on Friday. I think he did play. I'll check that. I'm pretty certain that he did. He's
hitting his straps well.
Yeah. No, he's a good player, mate. We like Arthur Morg. Yeah. We like him a lot. That was Joe Chan's 10 minutes. Our Joe going off for another 10. Yeah, he's a bit of ill discipline there. Just creeping in for our Joe on that occasion. Where are we? I'm just trying to find this Morg one for you. I'm pretty certain he did play. Here we go.
I've got a feeling he did.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't. No, he didn't. It was Tyrone May. My apologies. Tyrone May played on Friday.
So this
was him coming in cold. There he is again. Whiteley going in again. We mentioned him in game one, didn't we? He's having a good year.
I think he made my early doors team so far.
Oh, Whiteley. Yeah. Oh, Whitley. It's Whitley, isn't it?
Whitley.
I always say Whiteley. That's too much time watching Countdown as a kid.
Is that Cassiano?
That is Cassiano, just popping in, just letting us know he's there.
Yeah, you don't disallow his tries, do you?
No, you'd be a fool to.
Pull a chair out, let him sit down, and take all the time in the world.
He's one of those players that he'd make you cry just by looking at you. But that's by the by.
As you say, you caught him in bed with your missus, you took him in.
Indeed, you would.
In his case, you'd make him a hot chocolate as well.
There's Ken again. Ken going in once more. Just continues to perform as our Ken. He's doing very, very well indeed. this season. Look at that.
That
Lovely
was a
from
trip
Pearce.
there.
Lovely, yeah.
A trip there that's not been mentioned.
No, but lovely from Pearce. Pearce, simple pass from Morg to get his first one, but they're really good footwork. 36 points to 10. Catalan continue to be real contenders. There's no doubt. I think they, as long as injuries don't hold them back, if you get the right players back at the business end of the season, I think Catalan will go well. And even though it's interesting, just going back to the Saints game, when Leeds were in the pomp, I think every team, I think there was an appreciation for the golden generation at Leeds, and I think that people enjoyed watching the brand of rugby that Leeds played. And dare I say it, I think we're at the moment, for rugby. I hate to say this because it's Saints I'm talking about, but rugby league purists, St Helens is a very special team at this moment in time, and unlike the Leeds team where I think they got a lot of credit, I don't think that fans from other teams find it easy to bestow the same amount of respect, rightly or wrongly, to Saints. But I think Saints at the moment are just playing outstanding rugby league. It's almost rugby league by numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the players leave and players just slot in and take the place. It's a machine.
Yeah,
they are a machine. That all the parts of that machine work well together. And if a part breaks down, they put another part in that just fits in. It's
and in most cases a better part, which is interesting. Or a part that was on the scrap heap.
It'd be interesting to see with Dodd out who they're going to play it.
Well, they played Roby, didn't they? They played Roby, which was a surprise.
It was a surprise, but are they going to stick with Roby?
Well, I mean, last year it was Wellesby, but I think Wellesby's just too important to full back.
I mean,
so it's one of them.
You're talking about Bennison with Regan Grace. Could Bennison play there? I don't know. I don't know a lot about it.
Don't know. One thing's for certain, though. With Lewis Dodd out, they'll cope. But what it does show is, like any team, if Saints lose a couple more of those big players, an Alex Walmsley of this world, or I think all of a sudden now,
players, I think the important players for Saints, and no disrespect to Dodd, who's played really well this season, are the forwards. If they lost a couple of the forwards, I mean, Morgan Knowles, how long is Morgan Knowles out for?
Knowles. But you say that, mate. How much pressure now is on Johnny Lomax to stay fit? Because we know he's had his injury problems. And all of a sudden now, should something happen to Lomax, that has the potential to derail him for me.
I think, mate, that the pack is so dominant. I think they could put somebody in there, and because of the dominance of the pack as it is, they would still make space for players to run into and score tries. Maybe not dominate the game as much as they are doing. I think if they had injuries to members of the pack, I think they'd feel it more.
Yeah,
Whereas with other teams, I mean, St Helens pack is by far the best in Super League.
Without question, and that's why they're so dominant. And that's why they're so dominant.
Yeah,
Should we take a look?
Catalan, maybe a close second. And I would have said Leeds and Wigan were probably there. But Saints is a huge. I mean, Parsi, Walmsley.
Mate, Kyle Amor can't get a game. That says it all, doesn't it? Can't even get on the bench, mate. So anyway, let's take a look at this Wigan game. We spoke about the surprise of Castleford absolutely battering Wakefield. We both said last week in predictions we felt Saints had beat Wigan and we thought Wigan had strike back hard against Wakefield. I don't think we expected them to strike back as hard as this. This was, this is a team that couldn't score last year, but they were incredibly dominant in this game. Albeit, Wakefield opening few exchanges of the game.
Well, he went ahead, didn't they?
Yeah, they were all right. But I mean, then it was just like, the dam well and truly busted it without question.
I think it was another 60 or 70 minutes before they scored again.
This is good from Bevan French. Yeah. With Jay on his shoulder. But lovely try from Bevan French. He'd have enjoyed that. He's been out for a long time. That was a really nice try. And
you're a defender. If you're defending, you've got Field and Bevan running at you.
Yeah, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, mate. You're absolutely in trouble. This is Brad Singleton. Poor defence. That's poor defence by any stretch. That's a bit too easy. right down the middle.
Melted away the defence, melted away.
Yeah, here comes Jay now. It's Jay's turn. Out it goes to Bevan. Nice to see that. Nice to see that. In some teams that aren't teams, he might have gone for glory there because, of course, it's between him and French for full-back. But no, he passed it. There's Abbas going in. Deservingly so. Been there.
He was unlucky against Saints, wasn't
he? He was. Here's that Harry Smith. Nice try.
Pleased for Harry Smith as well. Good try, but again, poor defence.
Yeah, 9 from 9 kicks for Harry Smith. And, fair play to him. This is a good try as well. Good team try. May go there going through. Another, it's goodbye in it. When Field gets the ball like that, it's goodbye. Yeah, but yeah, pleased for Harry Smith. When he's been called upon this year, look at him again here. Deary me. I mean, it's just, the highlight reel is just, it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. How well he is playing.
He doesn't just drop over the line, does he?
No,
that's
he's a hell of a player. No, yeah, exactly. There's the little kick through, and another player who's slotted in really well, Cade Cust. He's been steady away. I mean, it's just that Jay Field is so head and shoulders the best player. Anybody else is just failing by comparison. Jacob Miller there going in for a try for Wakefield. Who's, Miller's having a decent season for Wakefield.
I've got a lot of time for Jacob Miller. I always thought he might have been a player to make a difference at Warrington a few years ago. But fair play, despite teams like Wigan and Saints and Leeds apparently having interest, he's been stayed loyal to Wakefield, which is good to see. Fair play to that.
Yeah, loyalty goes a long way. But no, great performance from Wigan. Field and French, absolutely unplayable. Good evening to Pauline Grook. David Metcalf, good evening to you as well, sir. As we now go back to France, and for I kept an eye on this game throughout Monday, and I thought it was on. The 500th game for Tony Smith, and Toulouse certainly at home are a very, very difficult proposition for any team. Good try. I'll bear that, isn't it? Good,
at one point on Monday, Leeds were bottom of the pile.
They were, yeah. You sent me a message. It was looking that way, wasn't it? That Leeds were going to be bottom of the pile at the end. Because, like I say, Toulouse got off to an absolute flyer. Poor defence there. That ain't good enough. Got to be stronger. He held it up, but even so, it's not good enough. You need to be stronger than that. Very, very lucky there to keep him up. I actually felt when I first saw that, how the player in attack didn't get that down, because for all the world at collision, he should have won that collision.
Yeah, he should do, but I think they made up for it straight away, didn't they? Yeah.
They most certainly did. Most certainly did.
He's a big unit.
He's a steady away chappy, no question about that. Absolutely.
I don't like him running at me.
No, absolutely not. But credit to Hull KR. Didn't panic, kept coming. There's Jez Litton, who you were talking about earlier. There's Ryan Hall going in. You're not stopping Ryan Hall from 2 meters out. You're just not doing it. Are you?
He's a unit, Ryan Hall, and he's just he's probably bigger than Warrington's props.
I think the thing about Hull KR for me over the last 2 years, it's the body language of the team. There's a belief in the team.
Yeah.
There's a togetherness in that team.
This is a
Macron. Macron. Love that name. Yeah. Macron.
Yeah. When he's not leading France, he's scoring tries for Toulouse.
Absolutely.
Versatility.
Here we go. Abdul, great little play right
that
across.
Was brilliant. That was brilliant. That was Bobby Goulding in his pomp.
And again, lovely cut out ball. Ryan Hall again. He's not going to be denied from there. Steady away, no real problem. And at this point, KR still behind 18-10 at this point.
Well, it was the last few minutes, wasn't it, where they turned it around?
Yeah, very much so. It was game on this game. Toulouse again. I mean, we've seen it a couple of times this season where Toulouse.
Was that George King?
Yeah, it's a good try. He's had a good season, King.
He's had a good season. Poor defence.
Yeah, he's been quiet the last few weeks, but I think around week 3, 4, 5, I think he had some really good play.
Yeah,
in those rounds.
Lucky not to get a card there. That was a slap across the chops.
Yes. Oh, we go. Ben Crook's back as well, and then in, of course, goes Abdul.
Yeah.
Abdul, not really at his straps this year. I mean, being harsh on the guy.
He's been out for a bit. I mean, he's not played every game.
Yeah,
and Mikey Lewis is kind of. I don't think they'll suffer for the absence of Mikey Lewis.
No. I mean, obviously, some massive losses this week. We've talked about Sabelio. Doddy is out, but Meeking's going to be out for a period of time. We've already lost KKP. KPP at Wigan. So there's some big talent that all of a sudden is missing in Super League, which is a real shame from the neutrals' perspective.
But it's a great chance for some youngsters to make the name.
It is. No, I don't disagree. Disagree, mate. And then last but by no means least, the whole Warrington game. Didn't really get the commentary on Sky with this. They kept on saying that Hull were dominating. I saw this as a 50-50. It could have gone either way. At no point did I think either team were having it away. It was a really good
commentary on the games for the whole of the weekend was poor from Sky's point of view.
Embarrassing. I mean, as good as Jake Connor is, I mean, dearie me, it was the Jake Connor show as far as
this was after Ben Curry was simbing for a Hull player running into him. And then Ratchford is just an obstruction. It's a penalty to Warrington. It's not a try. Ratchford is clearly obstructed.
Yeah. No,
I'm not saying that because I'm a Warrington fan. I'm saying that because they're the rules of the game.
Yeah.
He's clearly obstructed and it's not a try. And I just want to play the Benny Hill music when I see this try.
I mean, it's a shocker. I mean, when you actually see it, see it from behind the post, every single Hull player.
Space. I mean, I just really want to play the Benny Hill music when he scores that try.
I mean, credit. And do you know what? And one thing that he did say in commentary that I agreed with, we don't see enough of that where the referees allow a quick tap. No. And when you've got players like Davil Clark, Paul McShane, these type of players, I think you need to be giving them that opportunity to just showcase what they can actually do. I mean, let's be fair, that was near the halfway line when he tapped that ball. And he's just wandered straight through.
That's the first time that I thought Tom Brady had signed for Hull. That ball was that far forward, but
steady. But no, I mean, look, Fash had a good game for Hull.
Should he have been playing though?
Not sure about the haircut, but he's had a good game there without doubt. And Warrington, like I said, at no point did I think neither team got away. This was poor from McIntosh. Good finish from Matty Ashton yet again.
Goes to the video ref, and the video ref says, "Can you replay that? Because I want to see if the Warrington player gathers it cleanly." I mean, how many times do you have to see that?
Well, it's not that. I mean, also the in touch. I mean, what's the linesman doing? At no point does any of his body touch. It's poor in that respect. Then we start to have the let's have a 1 point job.
I thought he got that, to be honest, but
no, he pulled it. But Gale's been banned. Gale's been banned for 2 more games.
It was so blatant. He should have been dealt with in the game.
Yeah, Sirinen as well at Saints. He's going to be missing another 2.
Well, he's missed quite a few this season.
Yes, exactly. So a couple of these players, they've got a bit of form this year. They're coming into some trouble. Which is
with a reputation, and he's been picked up. Now that he's not 6 again.
I didn't see that at 6 again. And equally, I'm sorry, Hull fans, and I always try and remain impartial, but at no point for me does the referee see the ball on the floor for this try. How he can then send it up as a try, I don't know. You look at his position, and the amount of bodies that are between. So look where he is now. Here it comes. He does not see that ball on the floor. No. He does not see that ball on the floor at all.
Unless the referee wants the Hull win, he sends that up as a no try.
You can't. I mean, there was I think Kevin Brown said, you've got to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. No, you don't. If the referee has not seen the ball on the floor at any point, he has to send it up as a no try. You cannot, I think he got it down. You've got to send it up as a no try. And once he sends that up as a try, then it's going to be given, even though there's not a single camera.
He knew that. Yeah. He knew that. And that's where it's wrong. Yeah. And this is where this on-field try or no try has got to stop. If you're sending it to the video ref, you just let the video ref make a decision.
Yeah.
And
No,
I call this for a while now. This on field no try has got to stop, because you know the referee knows that when he sends up as a try, he has no clue that that's a try. No clue. But he knows that he can send it up as a try or a no try, and his decision is agreed with. So the referee there is deciding who wins the game, not the players.
Well, it weren't just that, mate. It weren't just that. I thought some of his calls on forward passes for both teams were a bit all over the place. It's just I don't know. I just felt that it was a poor day at the office for Kendall.
Yeah. The one thing we've always said about this is not a forum for bashing referees. They've got a difficult job, and I've screamed and shouted at referees in my time at Wilderspool and Halliwell Jones, as you know, mate. But this is not a forum to bash referees. But that was an absolute shocker.
Yeah, it was a poor.
The Ben Curry sin binning was an absolute shocker because the whole player actually runs into him. The obstruction for the try that followed it is clear as day. The Gale trip was clear as day, and that was a scandalous decision as far as I'm concerned. And you know, it's not. Chris Kendall is supposed to be our leading referee. Him and Liam Moore. Liam Moore had a nightmare in the Saints and Wigan game.
It's a tough job, mate. It's a tough job.
It is. You just hope that's why this should never be a forum for.
You just hope it evens itself out.
Criticism of referees, but you know, sometimes you've got to say, and this is because I'm a Warrington fan, that that Liam Moore, Saints and Wigan had some howling decisions.
But it's a tough game, mate.
It's wrong.
Over the course of the season, you just hope that they even themselves out.
Well,
right, let's take a look at how the table looks then at the end of Easter weekend. St Helens continue their dominance of the league, only by 2 though. Wigan and Catalan closely behind on 14 apiece. Then it's Huddersfield now on 11 points. They're followed by the 2 Hull sides, both in the top 6. Just outside the top 6 will be Castleford and Warrington. Salford and Wakefield then on 6 points. And then there's a gap to Leeds and Toulouse, and something tells me there's a very interesting game coming up in round 10. We'll get to that in a minute. Right. So, how does the prediction league look? Well. What a difference at Easter weekend. It's very, very close all of a sudden. Super League Fans Forum lead Greg by 2 points. They remain top on 123. Greg 121. And with my 32 points this week, I've managed to get a little bit of credibility.
That's a phenomenal performance.
It was a phenomenal performance, I agree. 32 over the 2 rounds. Puts me back in contention. Right back into it. It makes it look as if I know what I'm doing, which is marvellous. So, because I've been a long way off.
I think the Salford result let me down on Thursday.
Yeah, you and the fan. Well, you definitely. You had a shocking first round 8.
Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday.
Yeah, you did. You only picked up 4 points in those 2 games.
Shocking.
That was all you picked up, mate. But you bounced back with 15 on Easter Monday, which was a good effort. So that saved you without question. Right, okie dokie then. Let's get into this. Round number 10. Here they come. Here's the fixtures. Here we go. Round 10. Castleford Tigers will be taking on St Helens. Leeds Rhinos welcome the Toulouse Olympics. I say with a wry smile. That could be interesting. Warrington Wolves welcome Huddersfield. Huddersfield, great, beat Warrington at Halliwell last year, and I have to say, come with a far better team and in far better form this year. Then it's Hull KR taking on Wakefield. Wakefield, can they recover from what was a shocking Easter weekend for them? Wigan Warriors take on Salford, and then bringing the curtain down on round number 10 will be Hull FC taking on the Catalan Dragons. So let's take a look at the first game then. This is it. It's round 10, live Friday, 8 o'clock from the Menderhose Jungle. Castleford take on St Helens. The form guide, well, they've both won the last 3. So both in reasonable form, without question. 2 massive wins, though, Wigan and Huddersfield back-to-back for Saints. Quite a lot of absentees for Castleford, as you can see there. The main ones probably being Jordan, Turner and Faramo. But then for Saints, big players missing. Sione Matauti still expected to be out with his hamstring. Regan Grace still expected to be out. Curtis Surinin as we've already said, he's suspended. Lewis Dodd out for the season with an Achilles injury, and Conrad Hurrell is also missing. So some big, and again, we've talked about Saints and, suspensions and injuries. It's fair to say that actually every single one of those injuries to Saints is a starting 13 player. That is what we're talking about here. However, that being said, the fans forum, all 66% of them have come out to say that Saints will win by 18 plus. What's your thoughts on this one, mate? Oh, and just as I've said that, we've lost him. Just as things were getting interesting, I'm sure he will be back. Let's just wait for him to come back. Are you there, mate? Still waiting. We'll just hang fire. Here he comes again. I think he's on his way back. Reggie, are you there? Right. Well, while we're waiting for Reggie to find himself back in, what we'll do is we'll quickly go to the top performers of Super League thus far while we're waiting for Reggie to come back. Here we go.
Yes. This is like Eurovision, mate. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Maybe we won't do that. Are you back?
You're back. So,
there you go.
I had an unstable internet warning, and then it all went blank.
Fair enough. Well, if I'd have just...
It's Warrington. It's we still point at planes in Warrington. I'm getting Wi-Fi.
Right. So let's try and get through these predictions before you go again. So, Castleford Saints.
I've gone 9-17 for Saints.
9-17.
Because I think that it's always the third game after the Easter weekend that kind of catches up, and they've got a lot of injuries. And I think they'll win, but I don't think it'll be quite as dominant as people think it's going to be. And I think 9-17 Saints.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I see it the same way. I see it 9-17. The fans forum, as we've seen, have gone the way of Saints by 18 plus in that game. Yeah. So we'll wait and see on that one. Right, let's get back into it. Let's go and take a look at the next game that will be coming up on Friday. Here we go. It's Leeds Rhinos taking on Toulouse. Right, let's take a look at this. Both teams obviously not in form. That Huddersfield draw making things look slightly better for Leeds. Obviously Toulouse a win for Saints in there as well. In terms of measurements, 16-14 Castleford, 32-6 Toulouse lost to Castleford. So there's a little bit of a gauger there, maybe. But yeah, look at the Leeds absentees. Quite a long list there. Rick Myler still out. Harry Newman, Jack Walker, James Bentley, Tatavano suspended. Blake Gostin out with HIA. David Fisitua out with his knee. Aiden Caesar also expected to miss out. Long absence. I mean, that is a massive problem. Expected though to have a coach in place by the time it comes around. So it's being rumoured. Gary Hetherington having a board meeting this week, and it's
and apparently an announcement being made this week. So I've heard.
That's right. So maybe they'll have somebody in the stands, whether they take charge or not, sort of a thing. Apologies for the photo. I thought Guy Armitage would be playing, but actually he's not. It would appear that he may be out with a larynx problem going into this game, which is a big blow for Toulouse because he's been arguably one of their better players this season.
Yes, he has. And he's a big lad.
He is. Right, the fans forum.
Go on, what the fans forum said.
80% have gone to lose 9-17.
I'm in a dilemma here. I've got 9-17 Leeds or 0-8 to lose.
Which way are you going?
I don't know. If I was a gambling man, I'd say 0-8 to lose. But I think Leeds have got too much, pardon the pun, to lose. But they've got a lot of players out. They've got no halfbacks.
They've got a lot of players out.
They've got no half. They've not got a halfback combination.
They've got both fullbacks are out. Jack Walker's out.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the spine of the team. It is decimated. I mean, I'd expect, obviously, Lehman will be dropped into the halfbacks and Dwyer will come in probably as hooker from the start.
Yeah, but is he going to play with Sinfield's son?
Well, who knows? Who knows? And like I say, with the exception of Armitage, and again, not seen anything announced yet, but it is expected that Toulouse will be announcing signings this week as well.
Yes, I've heard that as well. I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to say Toulouse 0-8.
Exactly the way I've gone. I've gone exactly the same. I've gone Toulouse 0-8. I think it will be tighter than the 9-17 that the fans forum said. How frightening is that? At the moment, we are both identical for this week. Frightening. As we now go to the Halliwell Jones, James Harrison, who I'm really looking forward to seeing when he finally comes out of from his injury, and Greg Minikin out still with a knee. Jack Hughes won't be playing, of course, with his shoulder. As for the Giants, Jake Wardle still out, Will Price still out, suspended. Jermaine McGilvery is a doubt with a leg injury. Theo Farge a doubt with neck injury. Matty English a doubt with a hip injury, and Owen Trout also a doubt going into this game. So quite a few challenging moments there for the Giants in terms of their absentees. That's the absentee list and how it looks. In terms of the fans forum, 60% see a Huddersfield win 9-17.
Huddersfield rested about 7 or 8 players on Monday against Saints and didn't do too badly against them. And I agree, unfortunately, and I don't like to say this, but I agree with the fans forum, and I say Huddersfield 9-17. I think Chris Hill will have the game of his life, because he has a point to prove.
Yeah, it's.
And I'm going Huddersfield 9-17.
Well, it's. It's an interesting one. This one.
I don't want to say that.
No,
I really, really don't want to say that.
No,
I want to back Warrington in every game, but I have to be a realist. And Huddersfield's pack, McQueen on his own could probably rip our pack a new one. I'm pleased that, obviously don't pass that on to the Warrington back, because
because I'm still behind. I've got to take the odd gamble here and there. I'm going to back Warrington for this. I'm going to go 9-17. I've seen glimpses of an improvement in the last 2 rounds. I think George Williams is expected to return, albeit Ratchford has been very, very good at scrum half. I just think maybe this is the game.
I think Warrington will be very wrong to drop Josh Thewlis.
Yeah, I think Thewlis has been outstanding at fullback, and I think that
if they drop Josh Thewlis, I'll be very, very upset.
And I think a lot of people see this as perhaps Ratchford's last year at fullback. I think a lot of people see Thewlis as his eventual successor. A very talented player, had some lovely moments.
He hasn't put a foot wrong this Easter weekend.
No, I agree with you, mate.
Not put a foot wrong.
He's very seldom put a foot wrong. Very seldom when he's played. Right, we then move over to the Robins. Robins taking on Wakefield Trinity. I think if we were looking at this as round 8, we'd have been calling a really tight game. However, round 8 and round 9, we've seen Wakefield fall badly. The Robins go into this game with injuries, of course, going in with 3 wins on the spin. Johnson's still out with his foot. Vate's still out with his calf. Mikey Lewis, we know, is out with his ankle. Frankie Holton, who's having a good season, out. Matt Parcell a doubt with his nose, but I think Parcell will play, is my feeling. Kane Lynette, calf injury. Will Mayer is unspecified. Of that list, Matt Parcell the most likely to make the game. Trinity,
I think Frankie Halton is going to be a big miss. He's played really well for KR this season.
Completely agree with you, mate.
From what I've seen.
Trinity continue to have a patchwork. Fair play though to Corey Hall. I think Corey Hall's having a good season in the halves in the 3 quarters for the Trinity. Bill Tupu still out. Lee Kershaw out. Lynham still out. Thomas Minns out with HIA. Tom Johnson a doubt with a back injury, and for Fita, possibly I would expect for Fita will be in the 17.
Probably be a big miss.
Yeah, with thumb injured, expect him to maybe get an injection on that and be there for this game. But yeah, Wakefield, of course, coming in on the back of 2 very heavy defeats, very, very heavy defeats.
I think it'll be a 3rd defeat. I think it's going to be Hull KR by 18 plus.
Oh, you're straight in. KR by 18 plus. Yeah. I'm going to go. I think it's KR 19-17. I think it might be a bit closer. I don't think Wakefield will be as bad in this game. But the fans forum have gone your way. 57% see it as an 18-pluser to all KR, which will be interesting. I'm going to go 9-17. We then go to Wigan. Wigan, they're absentees for this game. Kai Pearce-Paul's still out. William Marshall is a doubt. Willie Ice a doubt of his shoulder. Sam Powell, albeit hasn't been announced yet, he will be suspended. And Oliver Partington.
Well, I would have thought so. If he's
100%.
not suspended, there's something badly wrong with the game.
100%. He won't be there.
Yeah.
And Oliver Partington unspecified. Red Devils, Nola Bet still. Sargentson, we know, is out for the season. Shane Wright, hamstring. Greenwood out for the season with an ankle injury. Tim Lafay, that's a big blow. And Mark Sneed picked up a blow in Warrington's game, expected to be out. And of course, with that, a lot of kicking. Not that I think it's going to matter in this game. This hasn't happened much this season. 100% of the fans form and go Wigan, and they go by 18 plus.
What do they know? I've gone Wigan 18 plus.
As have I. That's a slam dunk. That's a slam dunk. We've all gone the same there. I'd expect Wigan to keep piling on the points in that game. And then finally, it's Hull FC against Catalan. Taylor out with his foot. Joe Cater, of course, out for the season. Cameron Scott out. Luke Gale suspended. Cervelio out for the season with an ACL. Tumavave is a doubt of a calf injury. Jordan Lane out unspecified, and Brad Fash will be suspended. No question about that. Dragons, Busquet out with his arm. Dean Ware out with pec. Sam Tompkins out. McMeekin's going to be out for a few weeks. Jordan Desiree out with groin, and Joe Chan will be suspended for this game as well. Interesting game. Hull obviously lost the 2 games prior to the Warrington game. Tough game against Warrington. Catalan one defeat in the last 5. Interesting. On the road, bit of an Achilles heel for Catalan at times. Gale not being there for Hull, I think, is a big miss.
I think Cervelio. I think Gale missed. I think Tumavave.
Yeah.
I think I think this is going to be a Catalans win 9-17.
Exactly the way I went. I've gone exactly the same way as you on that. We haven't. I think with the exception of maybe, is it 2 games?
The Warrington
1 game.
With
the exception of the Warrington game and the exception of the KR game, where we've both gone different scores, but we're exactly the same on 4. As for the forum, they've gone 62% to the Catalan Dragons. They're going 18 plus. As always, we always just like to say at the end of the show that, of course, we don't do this for any other reason than the love of the sport. Get that one in straight away. Greg, that has flown by. It was an extended edition. 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's our longest yet, but a lot to get through.
Absolutely flew by, sir.
Flew by indeed. The way we're going to end is the way we always end these last few weeks. We're going to go to the top performers of Super League of this season thus far. Greg, we will be back this time next week, next Tuesday, for another edition of Super League Raw Weekly. But everybody, enjoy your rugby league. Enjoy what's going to come on. Watch all the games. 3 games this weekend on the TV. Enjoy them all, and we'll see you next week as we now say cheerio with the top performers of Super League for the season thus far.
Have a great weekend, everyone.